Hello you guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. So today we have a very behind the scenes look into my life. Not really. We're just hanging out. I'm gonna put my makeup on. I just found this headband. My BFF got it for me. So freaking, I think it's from Primark. Disney Primark stuff is the best. So it's like a makeup headband. And I posted up a this is a freaking adorable. Adorable. It's perfection. So I just got out of the bath, I did a workout, and I figured I would post up a story on my IG stories. So this is what I put up on my IG stories. And I said, ask me anything, the 5 best questions will be answered. So what I want to go through is basically like 5 things that I barely ever talk about or that you guys might not know about me, and just be super raw and real. And I figured, what better way to do this than to be fresh-faced, makeupless, and do my makeup and chat with you guys kind of like, you know, as girls do, as BFFs do. So let's swipe up on this and go through these stories and all these questions. All right, so the first question that I wanted to answer, and something that you guys might not know about me, is I used to have really bad skin. I don't know if I can find a picture of said bad skin and show you guys a comparison to now, but I do get asked now like how I have fresh skin-ish. I don't feel like it's that phenomenal, but I do take care of it. I do moisturize, but I used to have very oily skin and very pimply skin. I had a lot of breakouts, and in my teen years, which I do think is normal, obviously with hormones and everything. A couple things that helped, I think, was just nutrition, like what you put in your body. You know, the word pizza face isn't for nothing, right? Like when you're breaking out, it's really, I think, not just greasy foods, because the grease to me, like I feel it in my pores after I eat something like that, but also sugar. And I remember particularly like one spring when I was a teen, I just had so many pimples and I was like, what is wrong with me? And it was right around Easter and I had consumed like copious amounts of chocolate. So one thing that I do, best treatment for acne, was the question, and it was from Alex M95229. So like I said, I think nutrition, I think hydration as well. And your skin also, if it's either too dry, it could be grabbing all the oils and all the moisture that you're giving it. So I think still moisturizing, like don't avoid moisturizing your skin and having a treatment. I wouldn't go for things like Proactive and such. I have used it before, but I just think that there's, what did they say was in that? Like I think there's like bleach or something in that. Not bleach, but peroxide. That's what people said was in it. So I just think like that just will overly dry out your skin and almost make it worse. And then like I said, your skin will just be literally thirsty for moisture and just grab onto all the oil and almost make it over oily. So I think finding that good balance of skincare, I can link my skincare stuff that I use down below, and it's what I use for working out and everything. So with like sweaty skin, it still works. And I personally love it. I use it all the time. I literally just wash my face with it. So I can share that with you guys down below. But I think it comes down to what you put into your body. So that would be the best treatment. And then having a good skincare routine with a clean product. So I feel like that's a little tidbit of information that you guys might not have known about me. There was a couple of questions about like, did you grow up in Ottawa? Do you speak French? I am French Canadian. My husband is French Canadian as well. We met in high school in Ottawa when I was 15. We kind of have a very similar story to the movie 16 Candles. And I was a sophomore and he was a senior. We don't say that in Canada, by the way, sophomore and senior. I know that a lot of you guys will understand that better. So I was in grade 10, he was in grade 12, and he had a hot red car, and I loved it. I was basically like the nerd girl that like liked him, and I didn't know that he even knew who I was. And then I found out that he did, and we started dating, and we've been together ever since. We've been together for 16 years. We dated for, I want to say like 10 years, and then yeah, we dated for 10 years. He proposed, and we were married, a little bit under 10 years, because we were married by the time I was 24. and we got married in Turks and Caicos. So I grew up in Ottawa. Andre was born in Cornwall, Ontario, which is like 45 minutes outside of Ottawa. So Ottawa is the capital of Canada, for those of you guys that don't know. I've lived here my whole life. I am not Floridian. A lot of people think we're from Florida. We're not. We're just in Florida all the time. And we do not work at Disney. That's another question that we get. But yeah, we were raised here, right? Born and raised here, both French Canadian. I can't talk and hit this on at the same time. It's like my lip mask. Canada's freaking dry and freaking cold. So you need a good lip mask. Okay, Dylan asked a question about, feeling lost in life, struggling all around, and just not sure what to do career-wise and such. So I will share something with you guys. I really love the theme of this, and I really want to share like my top 5 things that you guys probably don't know about me. So one thing that you guys definitely don't know about me that I never share, which is super embarrassing, but I will share it because if it can inspire one of you and show you guys that like I didn't always have my act together, and I find those things the most inspiring. Like when you hear people's, up and coming stories of how they kind of got their ish together, I always find that inspiring because I'm like, hey, they're normal. Like I can do this too. So when I graduated from university, fun fact about me, I studied architecture in school, but I feel like some of you guys know that, so it's not really something you guys don't know about me. So I studied architecture in university. I graduated with my bachelor in architecture, and I graduated, I was jobless. I didn't have a job at all. I was on the job hunt. And because I went to university in Ottawa, I went to Carleton University in Ottawa, so did Andre. There's an architecture program, and there aren't architecture programs everywhere in Canada. So we had one of the schools with an architecture program. Montreal has the other one. It then meant that there was so many freaking architecture grads, and I didn't think about that, in Ottawa. So there was almost like a surplus of people getting jobs. And so the demand wasn't high, and I also didn't want to be a secretary or push papers or do nothing. Like I wanted to have purpose. So I was looking for a job, but I will say I wasn't avidly looking because I didn't want to just accept any job. And so my dream job was to work, not dream job, but like my dream firm that I wanted to work for ended up being the architect that designed this house. So interesting. So he is probably noted as the best or one of the best architects in Canada. His name's Barry Hoban. And he actually just won an award for our house design, which is so cool. Like, I just think it's so neat that we got to design our own house. It was really like a full circle moment with the architect that I originally wanted to work for. But that being said, I never wanted to work for someone. Like, I just really want to do my own thing. So I was looking for a job, but not super looking for a job. And I felt really lost in life. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do career-wise. I knew I didn't want to work for someone, and I just felt like I lacked a lot of purpose. And meanwhile, my new then husband, Andre, was working like crazy hours. Like he would leave when it was dark and come back when it was dark. He would leave at like 5 a.m. and come back at like 5:30, 6 p.m. Like he was working long hours, and he would come back and be like, "What'd you do today, Angie?" And I remember it would always cause a fight because I didn't have an answer. Like I just didn't know what I was doing with my life. And every day was like, well, I'm looking for a job. And this went on for a little while. And then I signed up to be a coach, which is what I am now. But that was like, this was 5.5 years ago. So I didn't even know if it was going to do anything. And I was like, I want to say like 30 days in to being a coach. And I still was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I just feel lost, and I lacked motivation and purpose. And I remember I woke up from falling. It's so hard to talk about this because it's so embarrassing. I fell asleep on the couch to daytime TV. I was watching The Chew, which is, I think it still plays. Mario Batali used to be on it, and I loved it. But I watched that, and I just woke up to that, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what is this? Like, I'm not this person that falls asleep to daytime TV, and I just felt so defeated and so, like, worthless. And then I get a phone call from Andre that same day, and he said, your visa bill's due. Because he helped me with like just managing my finances and stuff, because I was basically a large child with that. And he said, you don't have enough money to pay your Visa card. And I said, can I borrow? Like, it wasn't a lot, but it was still a couple $100. And I said, can I borrow a couple $100 from you to pay my visa? And I just felt like so crappy in that moment because not only was I not contributing to our family, like me and Andre, I wasn't contributing because I wasn't making anything, but I had actually like taken away, like I was putting us in the red by not doing anything. And that's when I just really, I hit like a rock bottom in terms of just self-worth and contribution. And those words like purpose, contribution stuff really became huge for me because I just wanted to have a sense of something. Like I wanted to do something for him. So I thought I'm going to set a goal for something that I can do that I know would matter to him. And it was that we would be able to afford a trip to Disney World because we couldn't. There was no way. Like he was already managing, like I wanted to do something above and beyond. So not only to be able to contribute to our life, but to be able to do something extra. And it was to afford a trip to Disney World, and we ended up doing it. And so that's my tip to you is like, if you don't know what like your purpose right now and you feel like you don't have a sense of purpose, I would say to, you know, if you feel like you're at rock bottom, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes when people's back is up against a wall, they make shit happen. And that's what happened to me. So I think that it was worth it to not end up with a job in architecture. And I remember the feeling, and if you have naysayer friends, I remember I had friends and they said this to me when I first started coaching in that same first month when I felt so lost. They were like, how is your little business going? And they had gotten their jobs in architecture. And I would argue that now, like them following that, and I think they went on to get their masters, I would argue that now, I think that owning my own business not only helps me have more purpose, but I think that even income-wise, it was the right choice. So even if people that don't understand your dreams and your goals, stay the course, believe in yourself. And if you do hit rock bottom and you're sad about that, you know, maybe it was meant to be. And think about the story that you can share later on, like I am now, that might inspire someone. So that would be my tip. If you feel like you're lost in life and you don't know what to do and you're struggling all around, that would be what I would say to do, is let yourself hit it, get your back up against a wall, figure out what motivates you, even if it's something random like contributing to your family and taking them on a trip or whatever. Put a picture of it up, keep it in front of you every single day, and get after it. So that would be my third thing. So I think the first thing I shared was my skin situation. The second was, you know, born and raised in Ottawa, Andre stuff. The third was struggling in life. The fourth thing that I would say in terms of struggling in life, and this wasn't really a question, but I feel like this could answer a lot of people's questions. If you, you know, feel like a sense of anxiousness, or that you just feel confused or scared or whatever, we've all been there, I think. And if you haven't, like, you might know someone that has. And I think that sometimes it's easy to look at me and what I'm doing and be like, oh, she's got her act together. There's been times where I get really, really anxious and I've been super, super scared and had moments of anxiety. And I hate that word, and I never wanted to label that word, but it's what it was. And I developed the year before last year actually went really well. And I was able to almost cure it. And I did a video on this, but I developed like social anxiety, like a form of social anxiety. I would never say that it got to get out of control, but I would get really nervous when we were out in public. If we would even go to a mall, I would get really nervous, and I kept it to myself and I never talked about it. And it's even embarrassing sharing it, but I share it because I'm sure that there's other people that go through this. And the other thing that I really struggled with that you guys might not know is flying. Like, even talking about it, I don't like talking about it. I have different things that I do to be able to fly. Andre and I often, if you guys notice, the reason why we love Florida, we can fly direct. And a goal that we had set for ourselves when we first started our business was to be able to fly business class, just so that we were more comfortable. And then what happened is we both kind of developed the fear, and we kind of fed off of each other. And we kind of nipped it in the butt last year. Like, all of last year, we were so good. And the reason why we developed this was because we flew so much for business, and we ended up having a couple of really bad flights in a row. So it really, and we flew, you guys know the story, right? I don't know if you guys actually know this, but we dealt with the hurricane in Orlando, and we flew out. We were the last flight out before the Hurricane Irma hit Orlando. So that was like friggin' nuts to deal with that. And it kind of created like a fear of flying, and just an anxious feeling with anything with travel or leaving the house and I think what it was, so this would be my solution to you guys is if you are anxious about something, like try and pinpoint the root of what it really freaking is. And for us, what we figured out was obviously we didn't like the feeling of being out of control. So if the flight was bumpy, there's nothing you can do to control that. But are we scared that the plane's going to go down? No, like we know that it's not. It's just really uncomfortable. And the other thing for me, what it was I always got stressed out about having everything done in the house before we'd leave. So when I could pinpoint that and really figure out, okay, this is what I need to work on, then the fear kind of just got better. And I will say that like essential oils and different things that you can take to like help yourself be more chill. But it was actually Andre that discovered this. And it's such a random thing, but he got us each Bose headphones, so noise canceling headphones, so that we weren't connected to the system of the airplane. So every time the flight attendants or the captain came on to announce what issues were going on with the plane, we didn't necessarily hear them because we were attached to our iPads. So we each got our own iPads. That was something that we completely messed up. Whenever we were in that situation of not loving flying, we would share an iPad, so we'd only have one earbud in each ear. Like, come on. So then we could hear everything, every issue that was going on. And that's what actually this most recent flight that we were on, oh my God, it was brutal. Andre didn't even care because he had both of his headphones on. I had one in, and the captain came on and said, we're landing, and he dropped the landing gear, and I could feel us landing, and then he pulled the landing gear up, and we went back up, and I went, what the F is going on? And I was like, my fears are coming back, and it was fine, but Andre was in La La Land, and he was fine. And it just kind of brought back those emotions, so that our most recent flight kind of just resurface some of that, and I just feel like there's no reason to be anxious. So I'm kind of reworking the tips and the things that I worked through all last year, and just going back to like gratitude. Like, I know that might sound corny, but I was just talking to my coaches about this. Like, you can't be anxious, fearful, angry, resentful, any bad emotions when you're grateful. So if you have a fear of flying, like, think about how excited and grateful you are about where you're going. And I think that and just how lucky you are, you know, like usually it's with travel, but even if it's with work, like you get to travel for work. It's pretty freaking cool. So think about that, you know, when you're flying, and just think about how excited you're going to be when you land and when you arrive. And if you need help with that, a book I would suggest is The 5-Second Rule, because she actually talks about how she had a fear of flying. So those are just a couple of things that really help me. But, you know, some people do need medication in that. And I'm not going to lie, like Andre and I we're on a very low dosage, like we're not on Xanax or anything like that, because I never want to take away. The last thing that I would ever want to do is, like, if someone really does have like a debilitating fear of flying, which is what mine was becoming, talk to your doctor about it. That's what I did. I talked to my doctor about it, and he said, like, totally normal, I got you. And we're on like Andre and I are both on a really low prescription. So I'm not saying this to be fluffy or to be like, we have a fear of flying and it's cool. Like, we really do. And that's what we did. And those are things that helped us. So I don't know if that helps you guys, but it helped us. So, and we've worked through it. It's a daily progress. And I really like the transformation of how far we've come since 2017. Like 2017, after we landed from Orlando, after Irma, we didn't fly for the rest of the year. We stayed put. We didn't say why. I didn't tell anybody because I was embarrassed. And I was, you know, our job is to travel, and it's glamorous. And the last thing I'd want to do is complain about that. So I just felt stupid, and I didn't share it. And now you guys know. So that entire end of the year, we didn't travel at all. And that was why. And then throughout 2018, we just worked at it. We traveled a little bit less. We traveled better. We always traveled business class. We flew direct, had less amount of connections, and we just worked through it. And I have to say, like, we are so much better, except for that last flight that we just had that I was like freaking out, but Andre's totally fine with it. So 5-second rule, those would be my tips for just anxiety and stuff. So that wasn't really a question, but it kind of played into like if your life is just, you know, if you're struggling all around. And then I wanted to answer one last question. So I'm going to refresh this right now and see if I can grab like the most recent questions. So, okay. I feel like everyone knows, I'll just answer this because everyone asks about, I'm not trying to make it seem like everyone asks, but it's one of the most common questions that I get. Are you selling your home and moving to Florida? I don't have an answer to that right now. We don't know what's going to happen. Right now, we have gone to look. I shared this on my IG stories. We met with a builder. So we've progressed. Like, we're looking at houses in Orlando, Florida. And for 2 Canadians to move to the States is very, very difficult. And obviously expensive, right? Like, to be able to live in Orlando / Golden Oaks would be a lot. So we're working at it every day. I don't have like all the details and we're working through it. It's basically our 5-year goal. So someone else asked that, like, what's your 5-year plan? Our 5-year goal would be to be there, even if it's part-time. So we would probably do like 6 months and 6 months back and forth. But I think that the ideal would be to live there full time. Like, I would love to be Floridian. We're like they're calling it like a polar vortex. And I know it's everywhere. Like, it's like Chicago, Toronto, everybody has it. It's not just Ottawa. But I told Andre I would rather deal with 1 or 2 hurricanes a year in Orlando than this. Like, it's ridiculous. And Orlando barely deals with hurricanes. So I think the worst one, we dealt with it when we were there for Irma. So I would just rather that than like piles and piles of ice storms and snow and just crud. You know what I need? I need highlighter. That is what I need right now. So I hope that you guys enjoyed our little chit chat. I know that it was a little bit different, but I think it was cool. And we got to like hang out together. And hopefully you guys learned, you know, a couple new things about me and a little bit more levels of transparency. And I hope that it maybe inspired you guys a little bit. And if you guys have questions, by all means, drop them in the comments below. And I will be back tomorrow with another video. So make sure that you guys are subscribed. Hit the notification bell if you guys want to be notified whenever a video goes live. Because I often hear people being like, oh my God, I didn't know that you loaded a video. Just hit that bell and it'll notify you. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, dudes.